He shut all you motherfuckers up. And that's why now I'm not gonna shut up. He proved all y'all wrong. Y'all talking about, oh, he can't punch, he can't box, he's a runner. He stood in the pocket, pieced them up. He whooped Zepeda ass tonight. And I was yelling all night.
Do you want to see him?
It's a fascinating fight. It's one that Crawford will have to weather maybe some early storms. I think he might have to weather a few storms, and then he just gets over the line. I just think he's got less miles on the clock.
It's never easy, you know. Boxing is hard. You know, we train so hard, and you know, for this fight, we actually been training for some years. You know, preparing ourselves for Canelo Alvarez. You know.
The night Canelo Alvarez stepped into the ring to face Terence "Bud" Crawford was supposed to be another glorious chapter in the Mexican superstar's legendary career. Instead, it became the fight that shattered illusions. Crawford didn't just win. He dismantled the myth. What unfolded under the brightest lights of boxing left no room for excuses, no narrative to spin. The face of boxing was stripped of his aura.
I'm 4-time undisputed, but the person now doing is Terence Crawford. Hit against Canelo. Oh my! I was nervous, but I knew he could do it. He kept on with the overhand and dropping out the hard kick. Canelo came to fight. He hasn't been pushed that hard in years, though.
Humiliated in front of the world, while Crawford elevated himself into a new stratosphere of greatness. As the dust settled, voices from across the boxing world poured in, each dismantling the facade of invincibility Canelo once carried. Claressa Shields wasted no time slicing through the noise. She called it exactly as it was. Crawford winning wide and clear, 8-4. This wasn't a razor-thin escape or a controversial...
The other house makes noise whenever Canelo throws a punch. I thought Crawford won unanimous, and I thought it was clear. I would say 8-4. I thought it was a clear win. I think he was still in rounds. And
decision. It was pure domination. For Mexico's proudest warrior, being outboxed so plainly wasn't just a defeat. It was a deep humiliation etched into his legacy. Former world champion Tony Bellew spoke with the blunt honesty of experience. He didn't sugarcoat his assessment.
Size, maybe not so much. He's thicker, he's stronger. But I do think he is showing signs of deterioration. And I think that was evident in the Skull fight?
William Skull, yeah.
The William Skull.
Yes, Canelo still carried strength, but Crawford's sharpness and impeccable timing exposed every weakness. He pointed to a decline everyone suspected but few dared to voice before this fight. Against Bud, Canelo looked a step behind, unable to match the precision, unable to close the distance with...
Sometimes he was frustrated in there. You know, he was basically like, damn, like, how I get hit with that shot?
Yes.
Sometimes, you know, us fighters, we get frustrated, and, you know, he was frustrated. He couldn't figure me out.
Without paying a heavy price, Crawford's timing turned Alvarez's strengths into liabilities, making the supposed powerhouse look painfully ordinary. Even Crawford himself admitted what millions watching already saw: Canelo had no answers. Every time Bud landed clean, the Mexican star shook his head in disbelief.
There's an argument that he becomes an all-time great with that performance, like you say, because the majesty, the poise, the presence all week, the pinpoint accuracy of everything he did in there, to the fact that in the end Canelo was frustrated and knew he couldn't do anything to Crawford, and he started...
Visibly frustrated, wasn't it?
No, visibly frustrated, that he started to do a weird kind of showboating because he didn't have any answers for what was happening and unfolding in front of him. I think Terence Crawford has rubber-stamped himself as an all-time great tonight.
As if questioning how those punches kept finding their target. That's the brutal difference between raw power and elite craft. Crawford dictated every phase of the fight, solving the puzzle with calm composure while Canelo looked helpless in the very arena that once worshipped him. Veteran journalist Gareth A. Davies summed it up perfectly. This wasn't just a victory, it was a rubber stamp on Crawford's claim to all-time greatness. His accuracy, composure, and ring IQ left Canelo exposed. Alvarez resorted to awkward gestures of showboating, but instead of exuding confidence, they screamed desperation. That wasn't swagger, it was survival. The man once feared throughout the sport looked lost and out of ideas, a shadow of his former self. Then came Crawford's trainer Brian Bomack McIntyre, whose blunt honesty cut through the last threads of the Canelo myth.
Didn't I say it? I said that don't mean shit. I don't give a damn about that. I said that, didn't I? In one of those interviews, I said that. Don't mean shit, because he's no...
For all his belts, hype, and reputation, Bomack said, Canelo was never on Bud's level. From the very beginning, he predicted that Alvarez's aura couldn't withstand Crawford's skill set, and in the ring, that prophecy unfolded with surgical precision. Size didn't matter. Power didn't intimidate. Round by round, Canelo's reputation collapsed in front of the world. Bomack wasn't just celebrating a victory. He was revealing a truth that everyone had finally witnessed with their own eyes. And he wasn't alone. Other respected trainers broke the fight down with cold precision. Abel Sanchez, a legendary figure in the sport, acknowledged that Canelo tried to rally in the middle rounds, but it wasn't nearly enough. Crawford's speed, adaptability, and creativity set him apart. Sanchez pointed out something damning. Canelo, a fighter long praised for versatility, looked predictable and one-dimensional. He swung at shadows while Crawford's feints and timing left him bewildered.
Crawford won a lot of the early rounds, and then somewhere in the middle, Canelo kind of came back a little bit, but there was a little better effort, I should say, from Terence. Maybe it was the speed for Canelo, couldn't adapt to it, but what a crafty guy Terence was against.
Sanchez used one simple but powerful word to describe Bud: crafty. In boxing, that word is reserved for true masters. Hall of Famer Timothy Bradley Jr. didn't pull punches either. He framed the bout as the inevitable collision between sharp decline and sharp opposition. Bradley was adamant that a rematch wouldn't just fail to redeem Canelo, it would bury him further. In his view, Crawford would deliver an even worse beating next time, turning what was once a dream rivalry into a one-sided annihilation. For the passionate Mexican fans who had carried Alvarez on their shoulders, Bradley's words were devastating. His verdict was final: Canelo is no longer feared, no longer untouchable. Crawford ended the aura. Active fighters weighed in as well. Veteran Gabriel Rosado, who has seen every style imaginable, didn't hold back. He called Crawford's performance pure domination. Rosado didn't even bother discussing Canelo as a future threat.
I think this is the tail of his career. If he fought Crawford again, I think it'd be worse the second time. You know, go out. Hey, why not do a rematch? $100 million, Turkey? Absolutely. We can do a rematch. That was easy work. That was nothing for Crawford.
Instead, he shifted the conversation to who Crawford would dismantle next. That alone was humiliating for Alvarez. To no longer be viewed as a rival, but as a conquered man, a stepping stone in someone else's rise. Rosado questioned whether any adjustments could possibly bridge the massive gap in skill. His tone made it clear, there are none. Canelo wasn't edged out, he was outclassed and left behind. While the boxing world now fixates on Crawford's greatness, the man himself remained calm and composed. In his post-fight comments, Bud's words dripped with quiet certainty. He wasn't shocked, he wasn't surprised, he always knew. While analysts and fans debated whether he could overcome Canelo's size and resume, Crawford never doubted himself. That's the difference between a contender and a legend, the unshakable confidence that comes from preparation, study, and supreme skill. For Bud, dismantling Alvarez wasn't a miracle, it was simply the inevitable result of his work. Trainer Bill Haney echoed that sentiment with
Terence fucking dominated. Shit, he can fight anybody. I don't see nobody beating him.
What do you want to see for Canelo, Gib? You've been in this game a long time.
Obviously a rematch to see if he can make adjustments. You know what I mean?
Appreciate it.
Passion, arguing that Crawford's destruction of Canelo was even more emphatic than his demolition of Errol Spence Jr., a statement that shook the sport to its core. Considering how Crawford's victory over Spence was hailed as historic, Haney's words underscored just how monumental this win truly was. Canelo Alvarez entered the ring as boxing's king. He left it dethroned, humbled, and stripped of his mystique. Terence Crawford didn't just win a fight, he changed the landscape of boxing forever. Crowning achievement, that's how many described Terence "Bud" Crawford's win. Yet trainer Bill Haney insisted this victory went beyond anything Crawford had accomplished before. He called it a masterclass, engineered not only by Crawford's brilliance, but by the meticulous work of his entire team. Haney painted a vivid picture, saying Crawford's face deserved to be etched onto boxing's Mount Rushmore, a symbolic gesture representing a fighter who silenced every critic across multiple divisions. For Canelo Alvarez, the contrast couldn't have been more...
He was a little frustrated in there, but that's part of the game.
The last question is, I know, Trey, after the fight, have you feel yet the significance of this win and what it means in your legacy and your career?
To be honest, when I set my sights on doing something and I know what I'm capable of, it's not like a surprise to me. It's a surprise to y'all because y'all didn't believe me, you know? But for me, I knew I could do it, and I believed that I could do it. I just needed the opportunity.
Painful. This fight was supposed to solidify his place among boxing immortals, another shining jewel in his crown. Instead, it cracked his foundation. Crawford walked away with his legacy cemented, while Alvarez left with his aura shattered and his myth exposed. Even Hollywood felt the shockwaves. Actor Charlie Sheen, known more for movies than boxing, reacted with a single stunned word: "Wow." That brief response carried immense weight, proof that Crawford's performance had transcended sports. When celebrities outside the boxing bubble take notice, it signals a moment that defines an era. This wasn't a competitive thriller. It was a one-sided dismantling of a global superstar, a beating witnessed by millions around the world. Undefeated cruiserweight Gio Pateye added his voice to the chorus of praise, speaking like a man who recognized true greatness. He had Crawford winning clearly, without debate. What impressed him most wasn't just the win itself, but Crawford's adaptability. Bud switched stances effortlessly.
Knew what was going to happen. You were in denial. That shit looked easier than Earl Spence. Did look, huh?
It's a brilliant performance. Brilliant performance.
Man. Shout out to Team Crawford, Bomac, and that whole team, man. You know what I mean?
Where'd you rank him all-time list after that?
I mean, put his face on Mount Rushmore.
Effortlessly, fought comfortably on the back foot, and adjusted tactics round by round. Pateye marveled at how Crawford's arsenal seemed limitless, while Canelo appeared predictable and stiff. For Pateye, Crawford isn't just a great fighter, he is the standard by which greatness is measured, the ultimate craftsman. That adaptability defined the fight. Canelo came armed with size and power, but when those weapons failed, he had nothing else to offer. Crawford, on the other hand, displayed endless layers of skill, reading the bout like a grand master reading a chessboard, always 3 moves ahead. Canelo swung with force, Crawford responded with intelligence. That was the true gulf between them. The truth is undeniable. Crawford's destruction of Alvarez wasn't just a win, it was a rewriting of boxing's hierarchy. The so-called face of the sport was stripped bare. Crawford proved that skill, IQ, and adaptability will always triumph over hype, raw power, and reputation. If this was meant to be Canelo's night, it became his darkest hour. Now the
Make of that performance from Terence Crawford. What did you make of the performance?
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable? Is that the best boxing fight you've ever been at?
Awesome, man. Enjoy your Netflix special, too.
Crawford climbs. Conversation isn't about whether Alvarez can come back. It's about how high Crawford climbs on the all-time list. Is he already untouchable? Is he the pound-for-pound king, not just today but in history? From Claressa Shields' blunt verdict, to Tony Bellew's recognition of decline, Gareth A. Davies' declaration of greatness, Bomac's prophetic vision, Abel Sanchez's technical breakdown, Bradley's brutal honesty, Rosado's dismissal, Haney's passion, Sheen's awe, and Patea's respect. The consensus is clear. Crawford didn't just beat Canelo, he exposed him. Canelo entered the ring as a legend. He left beaten, humbled, and stripped of his myth. For Crawford, it was the ultimate confirmation of what he already knew, that he is not just great, but special, a fighter destined for immortality. And now the world waits, not for Canelo's redemption, but for Bud's next masterpiece. Because after this night, one truth shines brighter than the Vegas lights. Terence "Bud" Crawford isn't just the best today, he may already be one of the best to ever do it.